Breaking news. In a bid to secure the release of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the youth of Ibeku ancient kingdom in Umahia has written to the president, of course, demanding for the immediate release of their brother and the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, who have remained under the incarceration of the DSS since his extraordinary rendition. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, of course, that Kanu, like the late South African leader Nelson Mandela, stands for the truth, equity, and justice. These are his submissions that the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, of course, has no reason to have been subjected to such level of cruelty, oppression, and intimidations. Meanwhile, he is just fighting for equity, justice, and fairness to all, just as Nelson Mandela of South Africa, who fought against the apartheid to restore equality, unity, and justice for the South Africans. Well, this is the position of the youths of Ibeku Ancient Kingdom in Obahia, Abia State, the kinsmen of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, has spoken out again to join the list of dignitaries, personalities, and across the walks of all walks of life who has been lending their voice, of course, for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is coming to, of course, heavy, and I think that the Nigerian government and the Attorney General of the Federation, in the interest of public, of course, interest and justice, fairness, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released. There's no more further ado about that. Of course, the youth, in a letter to President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, regretted that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's agitation for equity and fairness for all was misconstrued by the previous administration, that's referring to the administration of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, which decided to cram in into the tension instead of addressing the fundamental issues he was raising. Just exactly, he was pointing out, of course, the irregularities, identifying his continued detention despite previous court orders for his unconditional release as the major cause of tension and insecurity in the Southeast. The youth strongly urged the president to consider the growing appeals from across Nigeria for his release. Earlier in a communique after an emergency meeting Tuesday evening at their national secretariat, Isieke Ibeku, the youth argued that Kano was not a terrorist but only worried by the perennial injustice against his people and was crying for equity. The communique signed by the national president, Martins Chiedozie Nwosu, and Secretary Chibuzo Onwuka Muche, respectively, urged presidents to free Kanu, just as the Yoruba nation promoter Sunday Igbohu and social crusader Omoyele Sowore, also charged for treason, has been freed. Yes, this submission was made in the interest of justice, fairness, and equity, just as they stressed that what is good for the geese is good for the ganders. It read in part, our brother Mazi Nnamdi Kanu only stood for truth, equity, and justice for the Igbo tribe and the eastern part of Nigeria, just like Nelson Mandela of South Africa. Hence, his incarceration at the Department of State Services (DSS) has become unbearable to us, his kinsmen and brothers, knowing full well Of course, the catastrophe, instability, and insecurity that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's detention has brought to the eastern part of Nigeria, warning political, warning political, warning politicians against any attempt to politicize the ordeals of Kano. Ibeku Youths appreciated all those genuinely committed to his freedom. They particularly urged the Apex Igbo Sociocultural Organization Ohanaeze Igbo to caution ex-presidential aide Reno Omokri against making unguided utterances and provocative comments on Kano. We urge politicians not to politicize the detention of our dear brother Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and to objectively work towards his unconditional release. And this is their submissions. And of course, everyone will tend to agree with the position of the Ibeku Youth, which has been well maintained by all as sundry. Well, whatever happens, we do hope, of course, that in no distant time from now, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra will walk out of DSS dungeon, a free man he is. He was just misunderstood by the mischievous makers, especially the former president Buhari, who wanted to intimidate the Igbo people, describing them as a dot in a cycle and daring to teach them a lesson they will understand. That is unbecoming and unfortunate coming from the head of state or the president under democratic process. Under civilized states, he should have been dragged to International Criminal Court for the genocide and the killings and wanton destruction of life and properties he committed against the Igbo race and the Alibo in general. Let's know what is your take regarding these developments and the way forward. It's just a matter of time. Of course, we'll get to understand what is playing out and how such issues, of course, must be well handled to avoid any catastrophe or consequences, grave consequences that might ensue if such a call for his release is not adhered. And of course, as a matter of urgency, and given the prompt and due considerations that deserves. Thank you for watching. Remain blessed and keep sharing this video until come your way in subsequent edition. Bye for now.